Under the Insolvency Act 2011, ground is laid for provision for liquidation, administration and reorganization of the insolvent companies to aid management of assets and debt crisis. Judicial officers, registrars and other stakeholders have been today brought up to speed with salient features under the insolvency law.
Right now it is all about how to help this business remain afloat. And this is what I've been saying. This is what I said all along, that even for the bankrupt and insolvent estates, there are mechanisms under the law that are aimed at helping these businesses to remain afloat. So one of the corporate rescue mechanisms is administration. That's why I gave the example of UTL. That went into administration, and 5 years down the road, UTL is still afloat. Arrangements, they apply to individuals.
A given that creditors and stakeholders always act in furtherance of these objectives. Sometimes the reality is that actions of creditors are based on ulterior motives.
Uganda's insolvency crisis has largely had high-end companies such as Crane Bank plagued till winding up and the likes of Uganda Telecom held in receivership for several years. In response to such precedents, URSB says corporate governance that fits within is more liable, especially since most of the businesses battle poor management and record crisis.
What is the corporate governance expectation or guideline within our context as Uganda, in a community where people are illiterate, where many entities are not registered even, where there's no records, where there's no record of accounts, where there are no contracts which are written, and people transact on trust, on issues of trust. So this is where we have a meeting of minds as regulators, as government regulating the environment, the insolvency regime.
The Registrar General further adds that the creditors should assess and rehabilitate a collapsing business and advises transfer of branches for multinational companies to more favorable economic environments for them to thrive.
Company is in a region where there's no business, you say that this company or this supermarket has failed in East Africa or in Uganda because of the active local players. And you're like, let me take it to Southern Africa, where there are no competitive markets, where everyone buys in these supermarkets. So there's more business in Southern Africa than Eastern Africa or than Uganda. So these are the things that you assess to revive and save the company. And so these are the discussions that we're having with the judges and the justices and the registrars on how, when these matters are presented to them in the courts of judicature, how do they look at them?
Business rescue, restructuring, regulated entities, and other metrics such as sovereign debt are some of the talking points that drove this discussion between URSB, judicial officers, and other insolvency practitioners to help businesses stay afloat. Runana Habwe, Smart24 TV, Business Today.